Gang of Seven is talking about the Cowboys worried about losing a particular player. And the move would be to Detroit at 7 is what they're looking at right there. And the move would be for Surtain is what they're saying.
No. Wow.
Now, there's also some people, and literally before we went on the air, somebody asked me about the potential of a double move for the Cowboys, going from 7 to 4 in Atlanta. Now, if that's the case,
Pitts move.
Yeah, that's a Pitts move. But again, the initial discussion last night with several of the Gang of Seven was that Dallas was worried that Carolina and Detroit might be backing out, and they were going to lose the opportunity to draft Surtain. And so that's why they would try and get to Detroit right ahead of those two that could potentially trade out. And again, just moments ago, someone asked me in the league, do you think it's the first jump to a double jump to 4? So maybe that's something that's
very interesting.
You can figure out what Atlanta's going to do there as well.
That would be wild if they traded up twice for a tight end. And it's my favorite tight end ever in studying a draft, but that seems wild. And my initial reaction to all that is I need my 4 nerds out there with the Cowboys. I believe they have a 4-man analytics staff. It might be more than that now. I don't know. I need them to grab somebody. Problem is the analytic nerds are like 140 pounds usually, that's the way we picture them. And I don't know if they can put Steven up against a wall like trading up's a bad idea pretty much all the time. Don't. But that's the first thing that jumps in my head is please no, don't do this.
Well, what would you give up for that?
That would cost you $75. That's a 3rd-round pick. Now, again, that's if you were we're not moving for a quarterback. We're moving just for a positional player. So, yeah, you would likely – it's going to cost you roughly 200 points. Your 75 is worth 215. So maybe you can convince the Lions. The Lions are a team that everybody's trying to kind of get a gauge at, that everybody's got wide receiver there. And the Gang of Seven don't believe they're going to take a wide receiver there.
What do the Gang of Seven think?
They think they're going to take a defensive player. They say keep an eye on Parsons there potentially for Detroit at 7. So
go ahead and do that. That'd be good.
Detroit might feel like that they can move back to 10, and they could pick up a 3rd-round pick from Dallas and then turn around and draft Parsons at 10 if they had to.
Jeff, you'd rather just sit there and take Horn at 10 anyway, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'd rather have Horn straight up. But I think that's what it goes to is some of the things that interest me about the draft. Obviously, watching the players and having opinions about the players is one thing, but also the study of how it works, what's usually a good idea, what's usually a bad idea. And the people who are considered the best drafters in the NFL, like who's it's DeCosta, right, in Baltimore?
Yeah.
He kind of did an interview where they're like, hey, you guys are considered like the best drafting team.
Kevin Colbert at Pittsburgh, too, probably pretty good, too.
Well, and he said the question was basically, what's the secret? And he was like, oh, the secret is to not assume that you know everything and realize that more picks is good. So, like, we're good at the comp pick formula. We trade down and not up unless it's a quarterback. And Indianapolis with now Ballard, they asked him the same thing because he's another guy that right now is considered one of the really good drafters. And he said, yeah, the secret is to have more picks. So, like, the studies will tell you that trading up, unless it's a quarterback, you will have hits. But generally, what you're doing is you're having too much faith in your ability to separate guys who are like 9th and 11th on your board. Like, boy, we got to get Surtain. It's like, yeah, where is he on your board? We got him 9th. Where do you have Horn? We got him 10th. And you want to give up extra picks for that difference? Huh. That's interesting.
That's a weird, I think, that goes back to your tiers type of thing, that trust that the tiers are probably more reliable historically than you picking between two guys that are close.
Right.
So it's almost like they're letting the probabilities help them manage assets and manage risk.
Yes.
More than they're trusting their scouts or their eyes or their ability to be smarter than the rest of the guys around the league, who are also very smart.
Well, and I think a lot of people hate the idea of that because sports is a lot easier when you're like, no, this guy's better than that guy. But I think even having a guy who's been in those rooms for a long, long, long time, like I would ask Brian, would it shock you if Surtain had a better career than Horn?
No.
Would it shock you if Horn had a better career than Surtain?
No.
Would it shock you if Greg Newsome, the Northwestern corner, had a healthy career, that he was better than one or both of them?
Yeah, I think those are all very fair statements there. I know for the fact for the Cowboys, I'm just kind of getting a vibe from that team that Newsome is not in play. I think the Farley injury hurt them a little bit. That they really like Farley, but I know a lot of teams that do like. Again, Gang of Seven guys are always talking about about Newsome. And a lot of guys love him. By the way, I just got another text from another guy. And it's funny, we bring up Detroit. He says he thinks Detroit has reached out to Atlanta because they think that they want Jamar Chase. Because now a lot of texts, this is what happens this time of year.
Yeah, it's draft time.
So pardon me if I'm looking down at my phone while we're doing these shows today.
We'll allow it.
But so there's teams in that top 10 that are talking about, here's Detroit. They mentioned it going back, and then the next text, well, Detroit going up. So, there's a lot of different ways that teams are going to play this in front of the Cowboys.